days are cooler, nights are warmer, and I put the blame on you. Time moves slow, but my heart beats faster. When these eyes are looking right at you, right at you. You give me something to believe in, just what I needed. You're the closest.
Louisiana just passed a law mandating the 10 commandments to be in all schools, including public universities, in the classroom. Every classroom has to have the 10 commandments. I was like, that's more important than food? Like, really? And they're doing it with their full chest.
Oh,
telling
sure.
you that, so where are we?
Donald Trump I thought it was bad enough. And I remember when Trump got elected and some, cynics would say, oh no, it's not like that. I was like, that man gave permission for people to be themselves in a way that we kind of had assumed. It was almost like the casual racism was like dormant, it was like asymptomatic for a while. You didn't, and Trump gave it permission to be symptomatic. My nephew, who's a very talented soccer player, 10, 11 years old, up until last year, hearing racial slurs in New Jersey soccer games in nice towns and private schools, racial slurs
Are they nice towns?
I'm saying
nice
nice,
towns?
meaning, you know what I mean?
Nice?
I mean, nice looking. I don't mean nice people. No, you know what I mean? Like, a picket fence and very quaint.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying. That's a lie.
No, of course. But I'm saying they're used, and that's another joke of mine where I said my brother looks just black enough that white people lie to him. And I joke that I don't. I get the truth. And I go, some days I go, can I not have the truth today? Can I have a day where I go, you know what, that gentleman wasn't racist, or I have no intel to think, oh, another terrible person. And I thought, like, Trump really, I saw it like quantifiably, where it was like, I grew up in 1980s, 90s New York. I have heard more racist things outright in the 2010s than I had then. And obviously I was ignorant to a lot of stuff as a child, but I thought that was the worst of it. The cultural, like the Trump kind of cultural effect was the worst of it. But he and the people who used him, there were people, who were happy to use his platform and his aggression. A Mitch McConnell, is somebody who weasels his way to like the real power, judges and things like that. He's willing to tolerate a man he finds distasteful socially to get what he wants. And now it's going to be baked in. It's going to be baked into the infrastructure. And the Supreme Court, this Louisiana 10 Commandments thing is like, should be dead on arrival. Like it should, every level of court should be like, no, stop it, get rid of it immediately. No, we'll arrest you in contempt of court if you don't remove it. But they're betting on this Supreme Court being, they are very pro religion in a way that is sort of violative of the establishment clause, basically. And I think they're going to argue, and I bet you Alito, Thomas, maybe Coney Barrett, maybe Gorsuch will basically say, but they're not endorsing any one religion. As you know, Judaism and Christianity have a basis in the 10 Commandments. So it's not really, I think this is too blatant, but I'm just saying they're doing it because they think they want to see how far this court will allow, religious establishment.
Oh my goodness. So what's next? Prayer in schools coming back? I was just thinking, like, everything old is new again. So what's coming? What else are they going to do? Make it illegal to be anything but Christian? What else is coming?
Well, that's not funny.
Or not even Christian, because the Old Testament is not. They're so stupid.
Well, okay. I'm going to say what I think about Republicans. The Christian nationalist movement. I have joked that these are people who, they like the they like the Jewish book, They like the Old Testament, but they want the branding of Jesus. So they don't want they want the wrath and the old book, but they're not super big fans of Jewish people, except for, when the rapture comes. That's really the only reason they have an affinity for Jewish people.
Right. They want to bring in Armageddon. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
But Jesus has the great branding. He is the Prince of Peace. He is the most popular religious figure. He is the most but his teachings are woke and radical left. So they want the wrath of the Old Testament, but they want their front man to be Jesus because he'll sell the tickets. I think it's I don't know where it stops because, and I thought it was interesting when I read a few years ago that this current Supreme Court, minus Coney Barrett, very pro-religion, except Islam, there has actually been a slight retreat. In other words, if there was an article a couple of years ago, I think in the Times, that sort of broke down the increase in sort of favoring religion in the cases compared to previous courts. And they said overall, it's a heavy pro-religion court, with the exception of one religion, which actually saw a slight downtick in support, which was Islam. So it's like you could at least look at it and say, hey, if all religions were sort of gaining strength or freedom under this court, however you want to frame it, but it's so telling that it's not religion. It's like Christianity. We are pro-Christianity court.
Well, the governor of Louisiana, Jeff Landry, was signing into law the law requiring public school classrooms in the state to display the 10 Commandments. Behind him, they have little children. So there's the governor, I think his wife, and some other woman, and they're all smiling, their Christian smiles. And behind them are children, little girls, 3 little girls. One little girl right over the governor's shoulder is in distress. She faints. Everyone's going, behind him, picking this little girl up, trying to figure out what's going on. And he's just oblivious, which the visual tells you everything that you need to know about these folk. They don't give a damn about anything but what it is that they came to do, which is to seize as much power as possible. I'm going to play the clip. But as you're listening to the clip, imagine 3 little girls behind him, and one just falls out right behind him, right over his shoulder. And everyone's like rushing to pick her up, and the other little girls are looking at each other like, should we do something? They look concerned, while the woman sitting I think that's his wife, and the governor's bantering, and a girl just passed out behind you. Little girl, she might be 10, 11 years old. Jail. Play the clip, Smith.
This bill mandates the display of the 10 Commandments in every classroom in public, elementary, secondary, and post-education schools in the state of Louisiana.
As they're applauding, can you hear me? As they're applauding, the girl falls out.
Because if you want to respect the rule of law, you got to start from the original lawgiver, which was Moses. All right.
If you, and he's signing, girls on the floor. Girls on the floor. The original lawgiver was Moses. Oh my God, this is
But I also find it just interesting that all these, and this just goes to my point, all these hard Christian warriors on the right, they're never posting like the Beatitudes or the sermon on. They're never posting anything Jesus said. Do you know what I mean? Like it's because his stuff could be construed as democratic socialist or progressive, or so they don't want. It's more like, Jesus, go out there, and it's like a Milli Vanilli thing. They want Jesus to go out there and just lip sync the Old Testament, but don't say any of your new material.
Oh my God, it's crazy. Rachel Maddow was on The View this week, and she was talking about Project 2025 and other things, but she's warning, this woman, Rhodes Scholar, I think she does one of the best breakdowns of anybody on television, in terms of like facts and bringing through. When she does her thing, man, it's one of the best. She's one of the best on TV to do it in this cycle. She said this on The View. Play it, Smith.
When Donald Trump won the election in 2016, fair and square, he said it was rigged. He won the Republican primaries. He said they were rigged. He ran for re-election in 2020. Before the election, he said it was rigged. Then when he lost the election, he said it was rigged. He does not like elections. He does not like voting as a system by which we decide who's going to be the president.
Yeah, right.
When he was running for re-election in 2020, the Republican Party decided they were no longer going to have a platform. They abolished their platform and said, our new platform is whatever Donald Trump wants, we're for that.
That's right.
So if you don't stand for anything other than what he wants, you don't vote, you just put him in power. And once he's there, nobody is allowed to disagree with him or say anything that he doesn't believe.
And what is that called?
That is what a lot of other countries all around the world have, and it is not democracy.
Yeah.
And so he's trying to get rid of the American system of government, and that means getting rid of a government that does anything other than serve him, and that's what Project 2025 is all about.
Yeah.
And that exists everywhere in the world, and it has never existed here before. And so I really think the bottom line here is that Trump and his movement, they are not running against Democrats. They're running against democracy.
Yeah.
They're running against the democratic process. They want to radically change the kind of system that we have, the government that we have.
Yeah.
And we're alive as American citizens in that time, and we're going to be the ones who decide if the American system of government survives or if it's taken over instead by a strongman authoritarian form.
Right. And this is what Steve Bannon wanted.
Yeah.
And predicted.
What do we do with this? J.L. Colvin is here.
My days are cooler, nights are warmer, and I put the blame on you. Time moves slow, but my heart beats faster. When these eyes are looking right at you, right at you. You give me something to believe in, just what I needed. You're the closest.